Away from Texas.
Yes, sir. Watch you every single day. Nobody lays it down like Uncle Neely and the pregame show.
Neely, pregame show behind the scenes of everything. And why does he get that kind of access? Why does he get that kind of access? Because trust is involved. You would never get the kind of access you desire unless there's trust and relationship. You're trying to put your up on game.
All right. Good morning. Obviously, we're a couple days out. We're getting, obviously, the end of training camp, and we're deep into the preparation for North Dakota State. Tough team with a rich winning tradition, and so we've got a great deal of respect for them. And just like any game, it's going to be very important that we go out and play our best. So we're a couple days out, and that's where we're at. So take your questions.
Did you get what you wanted to get implemented in terms of a game plan going into the season opener?
Oh, I think so. I think we've been able to work on all the things really throughout the year that we would do in really the first month of the season. And we're playing a different style of defense than the one that we play against in training camp, so that's been good too, because we can work on some of the things that we'll see as the season progresses. But we feel good about our plan moving into this first game.
Brian, you got one?
Hey, Coach, a couple of questions for you, but I understand you're going to be on the field, on the sidelines during
Right.
games. What went into that decision, and what do you like about that?
I think, especially at this level, communication with the players, and this is a way different operation and field than pro football. And so it's no huddle, and you can make quick changes on the field. Things change constantly when you're in no huddle. And so that's why I felt like being down there. Instead of telling somebody to tell somebody, I'll be right there so that I can make those switches in real time.
And then the second question is,
And then, I'm sorry, so the other part of it is, typically in the NFL, it's a much slower game, right? Because you're playing from the huddle, quite frankly. And so a lot of the communication you can get through the communicator to the quarterback to do in the huddle. Here, it's all happening in real time. Everybody's spread out, so that's part of what went into it. Plus, also, it gives me an opportunity between series to visit with Shurmur face to face, and we can talk about things that we want to do moving forward. Way different game.
I'm curious, also, do the tablets, you guys can use those this year? Does that play a role too, that you now can look at those on the sidelines? Or?
Yeah, I think they're good. I think that the biggest change for college football, like I'm used to the tablets from the NFL. It used to be tablets with pictures. This is actually tablets with video. So guys in the press box can grade their players in real time. I think, but they're very advantageous when you can see what's happened. If you run a similar play later on, a lot of times the plays just keep changing, but you can tell how teams are playing in real time. It's good. It's good stuff.
Coach, Shurmur said the other day that you really understand him, you've come to understand him, and you guys have a great rapport. How do you develop that rapport outside of the practice? Do you talk to him? Do you guys have meetings? How do you build that?
Just being a human being, right? I mean, it's just normal communication, and I think we all understand that, Just positive, normal communication. I'm certainly somebody that, I give respect and trust freely. And then so we talk that way and communicate. And so there's often times when things come up where, I'm willing to talk to him about it. And it's easy for me to do that with him because he's always so prepared. A lot of times when, or at times if you're working with a player that, you can't get to that level, I guess mentally and emotionally it's tougher, but with Shurmur it makes it easy. It's just being human beings, right? Which I think we'd all agree is the right thing to do.
Go ahead, Taylor.
We saw a glimpse of Cardell Thomas coming in at the open practice. What kind of depth do you think he brings to the O-line?
Yeah, he's done a really good job, and he's a really fine player. He did get a real late start, so at some point we'll see if he's in the mix. He'll be available to play if we need him. He won't be one of the front liners this first week, but that doesn't mean it won't happen in the near future. But we're really glad we again, I'm going to keep going all year back to, being good human beings, and I think he's a wonderful person, and it's going to be a joy to work with him.
Go ahead.
Coach, wondering,
as a play caller going into games? Are you a guy that has a script or a semblance of a script, or are you kind of more of a feel and situation guy?
Yeah, no, there's a script, and we get to practice it, and so I'll have my first 15, first 15 openers. Depends on what system you were in. With Andy Reid and all the training in the West Coast, it was the first 15. Some guys call them openers, but we have some initial things that we want to do because we feel like they're a good place to move the ball. But then there's also things that within that first 15 you can see how a defense is going to respond to maybe a corresponding play that you want to call later.
Jack, go ahead.
In your quarterback room, just behind your door, it seems like we've seen a lot of good things from Dominic Ponder. Just curious what your thoughts are on him.
Yeah, I think, as you know, our solid number 2 is Ryan Staub. The progress he has made in the last year is absolutely, it's terrific. Really proud of his efforts. And then, Dom came here new, and Dom's also made really great progress through the year. And I feel like as time goes on, he has a bright future. And I think all the quarterbacks have made progress.
Matt, go ahead.
Coach, on paper, you are loaded at the skill positions. Does it feel like that when you get onto the field? Do you feel like you have an embarrassment of riches?
I don't know about that. It's a wonderful phrase, I guess. I feel, we love to death the players that we have, and we're going to try to utilize them to the best of our ability. That was very flowery language, I guess. That's good.
As a follow-up to that, how do you feel? I know it was really, you had just gotten here at the start of last season. How do you feel where you are now as a program compared to where you started last season?
I don't know. I think we're night and day from where we were a year ago at this time. I keep reminding everyone, and again, this is a real narrative, right? Last year, I came in and I watched the spring game from a year ago, and I said, wow, that's, wow. And they're like, Pat, these guys aren't even here. So we started the year last year, if you can imagine, with new players coming in the 1st of June. Like most of them were new, right? And so then now you're putting it all together through the summer and the training camp, which is very, very difficult. The only time I ever saw something like that was in the NFL, the lockout year, right? Where we got the players like 1 week in the training camp. Mamma mia, that's hard to do that. We've been able this year from the jump, right, from the turn of the year, to put a team together and work with them. And so just watching it it's a long way to say watching it last year to this year, we're much more cohesive as a team.
Troy, go ahead.
Going back to that opening script, how much of that is responding to what you think they're going to come out in, and how much of it is setting the tone of what you guys want to do throughout the game?
It's both. You want to call plays that work, right? And again, like I said, this is a way different game. People that, it's football, right? And the ball's shaped the same way, and the field's the same, right, dimensions, except the hash marks are all different. Yeah, it's a different game. And, I think I've said it before, because of the way rosters are designed in pro ball, it's a much tighter game. You got more tight ends, more big people. Here we can have a lot of receivers, and it's all wide open, and so that part's fun. And then I'm just constantly aware of who's getting the ball as well. So it's that part will be fun. But we've been executing it in practice, and I'm really proud of the way our guys have embraced what we're trying to do, and at the pace we want to do it. And then we'll just get it rolling this Thursday.
Jake, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how confident are you in the offensive line to consistently run the ball and protect Shurmur?
Very confident. Very confident. I think those guys have worked extremely hard together. Fortunately, we haven't had a lot of injuries, so they've got a lot of time on task. The 5 guys that we're going to start working together, and I got a lot of confidence in them. I got a lot of confidence in all these young men. I feel like they're going to go out. We're going to put them in a good spot and let them do the things they do.
2 more. Go ahead, Scott.
Coach, what specifically stands out to you about NDSU when you watch them on film defensively, and maybe what challenges do you think they present to you guys, particularly up front?
Yeah, I said it at the outset, but they're a team that's built on toughness. They got a rich winning tradition. They're very fundamental in their approach, but I'm going to say fundamental in their approach because they have enough wrinkles to keep you on your toes. whether it be pressures, simulated pressures. They will play some man. And I think it's just a cultural thing with them. I would think, I think they've got a lot of really talented players, All-Americans, to say but they also, the sum of the parts, I think they really play really, really good team defense.
Go ahead, Nikki, last one.
How do you feel like Coach Livingston's defense has made your offense more effective?
Yeah, so Rob and I come from the same world, so to speak. And so when we're out there, a majority of what we do is call it periods, right? And so we're tweaking with each other, and all of a sudden I'll see a pressure, okay. And then the next day I'll respond to that, and then I'll give him a play, and it's like, okay, and then he'll try to stop it. So it's been really good. Rob is an outstanding coach and a wonderful human being, and what we've seen in practice has been really good because we've seen a lot of tight coverage. I don't know if you've written about this or you've seen it or you've been able to see it, but we're much better up front on defense, which has been a challenge for our guys, and that's what you want in training camp. Training camp is obviously put the pads on and get calloused up. Everybody work on their individual skills, and then as a team come together. And I feel in all three phases, because of how we've worked together, you had the other coaches as well, we've been able to do really all three things.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Okay.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Troy, you want to start us off?
You guys are in a unique position preparing for a coach in his first game. How much of the preparation is this is what he liked to do at his last stop, and this is what his personnel, the strengths and weaknesses of his personnel?
Yeah, I think it starts with their players. You got to know who they have coming back, what they can do. Obviously, the culture there is something that will not leave, depending on who the head coach is. It's in the locker room. You watch those guys play, whether it's on defense or offense. It means a lot to them. So, yeah, it feels like we're watching 6 different teams. First games are that way. I'm sure they're watching a bunch of different stuff on us. So it's really all about us. I think it's going to be that way each week, but no more than the first week when you're not really sure what you're going to see. And you just got to adapt and adjust in the game. And that's why we're coaches. That's why we get paid to do this, and super excited for it.
Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. North Dakota State's a team that likes to use the quarterbacks in the running game a lot. What challenges does that present to your defense?
Yeah, they make you play 11 on 11. I can't say enough about the quarterbacks. Obviously, the 2 system last year, Wyoming was very similar if you go back and look at it. I think 7 runs better than you anticipate, and I think 9 is a phenomenal athlete. So we got our hands full. Again, when they go make it 11 on 11, we got to tackle, we got to get off blocks, and we got to play fast. So again, can't talk enough about the culture that they have built there. Right? You watch those guys get off the ball, whether it's the 1s or the 3s and some of the blowouts. I mean, they had some hell of wins last year, and it's a consistent effort, right? So really phenomenal challenge that we're excited for.
Brian, go ahead.
Coach, I don't know when you were William & Mary, did you guys face an FBS team?
We did. The funny thing is I was these guys. My senior year at William & Mary, dirtbag average player, really just made 11 on the field. And we opened up with Virginia, and it was our Super Bowl. And in a lot of games I played, I'll never forget that one. A young man named B.W. Webb came in his first college game. He had 3 interceptions and we won. So I know exactly what it's like to be on the other side. And it is, hey, burn the boats. We're coming hell or high water. So that's not lost on me because I was them. And so, again, it goes back to us being us and playing the game that we play.
So as a follow-up to that, because you've been through that, is that something you use this week? You say, guys, I know what it's like.
Yeah, that's how we started our week. Talk about it and just know what it is. I mean, dudes, we're going to get everybody's best shot. I mean, it's just it's college football, right? You're 1-0 each week, and everybody's going to be great. So, we got to strap it up, and we're expecting a knockdown, drag-out fight.
To kind of develop your defensive philosophy, who have you kind of leaned on, or who have you kind of borrowed from over your career?
I mean, I got so many mentors. Marvin Lewis is a guy that I'll forever be indebted to. Mike Zimmer as well. Paul Gunther, Vance Joseph, Al Golden. I mean, the list goes on. So again, I think we've talked about this at length. Maybe you take a little bit of what Zim did, a little bit what Al did, and it's just about our guys, right? If we have a dominant front 4 that can rush the passer, then the coverage part should be easy. If we got to heat them up, then we got to do some other stuff that maybe Zim did. So again, I wouldn't be here without those guys. I'm forever indebted to them and owe them many things.
Go ahead.
Coach,
Coach, going back to in terms of the preparation for North Dakota State. New coach, as you talked about,
Yep.
they also probably going to be coming at you with the power rushing attack. You know, it's not really what the offensive guys here are used to.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting a good look in practice and able to replicate it kind of well enough to give you a good look.
Yeah, it's like anything. Nothing is ever good enough till you get to the first game, right? I mean, God bless our scout team guys, but they're looking at a card. You know, to our assistant coaches' credit, they've been on top of this. You know, we've been carding stuff. Again, it seems like we're watching 6 different teams, but we've been doing it every walkthrough. So there's time on task there. But like all first games, you know, you're going to look up midway through the first quarter, start of the second quarter, and you say, okay, hey, this is what it is. And then you got to adapt and adjust. And it all goes back to putting our guys in position to be successful, and some calls might change. There's never huge in-game adjustments, but move some guys around and just let the guys go play fast and free.
Jake, go ahead.
Coach, just in terms of week 1, will it be like the spring game for Travis in the secondary in terms of how versatile they are and moving around?
I think it's just by matchup. You know, we'll have to wait and see. You know, they got to come to the game to watch that one. So, again, we talked about it. Travis is unique in many ways. So, however we can get him on the field and do as many things as we can, we'll try to do it.
Jack, go ahead.
Just curious in your linebackers room, just how have you seen that room kind of morph throughout fall camp?
Yeah, there's been competition each day. You know, Coach Hart, Coach Hilo, they do a great job with those guys. You know, so there's competition. You know, guys want to play. You know, that's the beauty of college football is only X amount of guys play. So I'm excited to see how when the lights come on Thursday night, I'm sure we'll have a bunch of packages and a bunch of different guys flying around. And they have put everything they have into it. So the football gods should bless them with a play or two.
A lot of the players have talked about their specific position coaches and how much they've meant to them. Coach Shurmur talked about his connection with Shador. Do you have any individual players or a group of guys that you lean on or have a connection with?
I'm the one that loves all my kids, but you know, I think just defensively, right? Leaders, who are they? Cam Silman-Craig is just a phenomenal kid, phenomenal leader. Think the world of him. You know, Shane Cokes up front is a guy who's been through the hard times here and has made it out on the other side. You know, Trevor Woods has done a great job, and the list goes on and on. So it means a lot for those guys that have stuck it out, that were here last year, and the newcomers have done a great job adapting to our culture.
Brian, go ahead.
Coach, you being a first-time play caller,
yeah,
has it been a benefit to you going against Pat Shurmur in practice, just being a long-time play caller on offense?
Yeah, I heard someone Pat saying I paid him a lot of money and say those good things, so I will have to pay that debt. You know, it's the beauty of Pat is that you can see 3 different offenses, right? So obviously with Shador, you're going to see something. You know, he can. Hey Pat, can I get some? You talked about the different personnel groupings that we might see on Thursday night. Can I get some of this? Can I get some of that? And he can just adapt and all it. So I lean on him a lot. He's obviously been in this seat. You know, he knows what it's like. I can walk down there and knock on his door, and he's great. And then the head guy. I mean, the head guy is just phenomenal. I can't say enough about Coach Prime. You know, if I have anything I need to question, hey, how would you defend this? He's right there. So we have a lot of people that I can lean on in this building, and staff included.
Tyler, go ahead.
You mentioned Trevor Woods. Obviously, you've only known him as a linebacker, but obviously he's come from playing safety. I mean, how have you seen those instincts from playing deeper in a defense translate? It seems like he's made a handful of plays. He mentioned too, he just feels like he's not getting noticed as much by the opposing offense. How much have you seen that kind of translate for him at the new position?
Yeah, I think the first thing is the ball skills, right? You know, thinking back to that early in camp, you know, a couple great interceptions, spot over the ball, and you know, everybody has been in a position where you make a change, right? So he goes from safety his whole life to playing linebacker, you know, mid-year last year, embraces it this offseason, puts on a bunch of weight, and it is just the kind of guy you want in your program. So excited for Trevor. Again, he's done it the right way. God knows he kills it every day. He gives everything he has. So just excited to see when the lights come on and see him play.
Go ahead, Matt.
Coach, when Coach Prime met with you originally to discuss this position, obviously a huge move for you now that you're on the precipice of your first game. How has it lived up to the expectations?
Every step of the way. You know, when we first talked about this, obviously I'm a first-time play caller, and it's not lost on me. He took a chance, and every day, you know, he says something else to me that makes me. I'd run through a wall for the dude. He's given me this opportunity. I am forever indebted to him. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be here. My family loves it here. It's a phenomenal honor, and it's a blessing, and one that I won't let down.
Excuse me if this is a silly question,
No, you're good.
but compared to starting an NFL season, is there maybe some extra juice starting a college season, or is it just all football?
It's just different. You know, you would have had 3 preseason games by now and a longer camp. You know, I think we're all tired of hitting each other. We want to hit somebody else. You know, it's just a different cycle. You know, the preseason used to be starters don't play the first game, play some the second. You know, you're trying to figure out who's getting cut, who's making the roster. So it's just different, right? No one's better than the other, but Thursday it won't matter, right? It'll be here.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.